What's up everybody, it's Mike from Off the Lawn, and this is your step-by-step tutorial on how to mount the OTL Stripe Kit. If you guys have any questions or concerns at the end of this video, feel free to drop them in the comment section below or hit us up on live chat, otlstore.com. First things first, what's in the OTL Stripe Kit? Feel free to pause the video, read through the list. Next is the list of tools that are required in order to install this kit. The level of difficulty to install this kit, I would say, is if you're capable of using a drill, you're capable of installing the kit. It's fairly simple. I recommend that you at least watch this video once before attempting to install the kit, and then during the installation process, using it as a reference step by step. Pause and rewatch it as many times as you need because I'm not going anywhere. Now let's get into the first step. The first step is going to be removing the bag. Next, if you have a self-propelled mower, you will want to raise your cutting height by one level from what you normally cut at. If you have a push mower, you are not required to change your preferred cutting height. Once the kit is mounted, you will be able to go up 2 cutting heights or down 2. The springs will compensate for it. If you need further adjustments, the L bracket has 3 holes spaced 1 inch apart. You can use this to adjust the brush up or down. Keep in mind, you do not need a great amount of tension in order to stripe. Next, we're going to be mounting the L brackets to the block of the brush. You will need the 2 L brackets, 4 Robertson screws that come with the hardware kit, tape, a marker, a 1/8 drill bit, and a number 3 Robertson bit. Also a measuring tape. Next, you're going to want to grab a measuring tape and measure the outside of the handles. Once you measure the handles, you're going to subtract the measurement from the size of your blockhead, and then divide that number by 2. In this case, I'm using a 24-inch block. Now you're going to grab a strip of tape once you have your measurements and lay it down on the blockhead. By dividing the number, it will give you the measurement of how far the L bracket should sit in from the edge of the block. Mark that measurement on the tape with your marker. Make sure to mark this on both sides of the block. Now, mark 3/4 of an inch from the edge of the block. You're going to want to do this on both ends. You should have 4 marks total, like so. This will help you find dead center on the block. Now line up the L brackets to the measurements that you marked on the tape. Then grab your marker and mark the holes. You'll need to do this on both sides. Now pre-drill your holes with a 1/8 drill bit. Remove your tape and grab the 4 Robertson screws from the hardware kit. You will need a number 3 Robertson bit to mount the L brackets. Line up the L brackets to your pre-drilled holes. Make sure the OTL logo reads from left to right. This will help you identify which bracket goes on what side. Now screw in your brackets. Now that you have your L brackets mounted to the block, you'll want to place the brush to the back of your mower. This will help you identify the best mounting point for your mower. Next, you will need tape, a marker, measuring tape, a 1/4 inch drill bit, a 1/8 drill bit, 2 1/4 inch bolts, 2 1/4 inch nylon nuts, 4 1/4 inch washers, and a spring. You will also need your 12-inch brackets. This will all come in the kit. Put a piece of tape on the outside of your mower handles. This kit has many adjustments, and every mower is built differently. This kit will adapt to your mower style. Some mowers come with breaking points. If you'd like to utilize a breaking point or a pre-existing hole in your handle, you are welcome to. You'll just need to ensure that the distance of the hole to the next is roughly the length of the spring. You can also grab the 12-inch bracket with the blockhead and see what will best fit your mower depending on where your breaking point is located prior to drilling holes. In this case, my breaking point is at the bottom of the mower. I'll be mounting my springs first. This will help me identify where I need to drill my holes to mount my 12-inch bracket. You will want to remove the old hardware as you will not be using it. If your mower has a high breaking point but no low one, mount the 12-inch bracket first. Use the spring's length to measure where to drill the next hole for mounting the springs. If there are no pre-existing holes, drill 2 holes, space the length of the springs apart. Before drilling, confirm the 12-inch bracket reaches the L bracket on the brush block, allowing the brush to sit flat on the floor. In the case you have 2 pre-existing holes, use the spring to gauge the distance between them. If they don't line up correctly, you can simply adjust the angle of the spring, which will still allow you to mount the kit without hindering its functionality. When resting, the spring does not have to be under tension. Even if the spring sits awkwardly or is touching the bracket, this is completely fine. It will spread apart once you start applying tension by pushing the mower. All of these adjustments will allow you to work around any obstructions that may prevent you from mounting this kit on your mower. Next, grab 1/4 inch bolt, 2/4 inch washers, 1/4 inch nylon nut. You will install one washer onto the bolt, and you will take your spring and feed the bolt through the smaller end of the spring. Put another washer and feed it through the hole you've either drilled or is pre-existing. You will then screw it in with the nylon nut on the other side. Generally, the bolt head will be on the outside of the handle. If there is too much leftover bolt obstructing your bag, you can always flip the bolt so that the nylon nut goes on the exterior of the handle. To make sure you're installing it correctly, this is how it should look. In order to tighten down the spring, you'll need a 7/16 socket, 7/16 wrench, and a ratchet. You're going to want to tighten this down pretty tight. Next, grab your 12-inch bracket and hook it onto your spring. You don't want to mount it too high. You want to aim towards the middle. Once you find that sweet spot, you're going to line it up to the L bracket and mark which hole on the 12-inch bracket you want to use. Again, everyone's mower is different, so you can use any of the holes that are most compatible with your mower and your cutting height. The spring does not have to be under tension and can be loose. Keep in mind you're going to want to measure the distance between your first two holes so you can do the exact same thing on the opposite side. Both the 12-inch bracket and the L bracket can be angled. They do not have to be perfectly straight vertical. This allows you to pick what angle fits best for your mower. You're now going to grab a 1/8 bit in order to drill a pilot hole where you've marked on the handle of your mower. Once you have your pilot hole drilled, you're going to grab a 1/4 inch bit and you're going to drill a main hole. Once you have your holes drilled, you could remove the tape. Now you're going to want to grab 1/4 inch nut, 1/4 inch bolt, and 3/4 inch washers from the kit. You'll need a 7/16 socket, 7/16 wrench, and a ratchet. Put one of the washers over the bolt. Now slide the bolt through the 12-inch bracket. Then feed one of the washers on the other side, sandwiching the bracket. Now hook the spring through the 12-inch bracket in the hole that you've selected. It does not matter which way the spring's hook faces. Grab the last washer and feed it on the other side of the bolt. You're now going to grab the nylon nut and screw it on. Grab your wrench and your ratchet and tighten this down. You don't want it to be too tight as this point pivots. To best describe it, you want it snug. The 12-inch bracket should be able to move back and forth freely. You are now going to mount the L bracket to the 12-inch bracket. You'll need a 1/2 inch socket and a 1/2 inch wrench, a ratchet, and then grab the 5/16 bolt and the 5/16 nut from the kit. Now feed the 5/16 bolt through the 12-inch bracket into the L bracket. You're going to grab the nut and tighten it down. You want to make sure that the 12-inch bracket is on the outside of the L bracket. Once it's on snug, you want to make sure that the brush is sitting down flat before actually tightening it down. Now you're going to repeat the exact same process on the opposite side. Once you're done mounting all the hardware, double check that everything is tightened down properly and all the angles are correct. Your brush is sitting flat. Although you may not have to necessarily do this, it is recommended to impact the bottom L bracket to the 12-inch bracket. This will help eliminate any chances of movement with the brush. Now you can drop the mower back down to your preferred cutting height. At this point your kit is fully mounted, so you can test it out. Once you're done testing, double check everything again, make sure all your hardware is tightened down. Double check your bag to make sure that it goes on and off without any issue. Here's a couple angles to show you what it should look like once it's mounted. Now it's time to take it out for a rip. I want to see you stripe like you've never striped before. Laser beam stripes flowing down your lawns. You better post those pictures and videos, ladies and gentlemen. The end.